We've looked at various work holding options for the anvil, and a problematic way to hold axes while we worked on them that did not work as well as we'd like, and we watched how an axe can slip in the vise. So one of the viewers sent me an idea for this little clamp. So let's take a look at what went into making this clamp today, and a few observations on using it for this brief moment. You've seen most of my actual use of it. There are a few things I might do a little differently next time, or make some simple modifications to this one. But for the most part, I think this is an excellent solution. It's fast, it's simple. If you have a drill press, it probably won't take you half an hour to make one of these things. If you have to punch the holes, it might take a little bit longer. This idea comes from Denmark, one of the viewers, Bertram. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'll spell it down here, just in case I'm mispronouncing it, so everybody knows who to credit with this idea. But he sent this idea, and he sent a couple of video links to one of his friends, or at least another Dane, using a similar clamping jig to hold an axe while he worked on it, and an older video of Swedish axe making that I had seen before, but I hadn't really looked too closely at the jig when I'd watched it before. So now I have a whole new appreciation for that video, and I will try to provide links for both of those videos somewhere up here where the links show up. We'll try to have those throughout this video if you want to go watch them. So what I'm going to start with, and these materials are based on my anvil size and what I already have on hand. I didn't go out and buy special materials or scrounge around or reforge anything. I'm just going to use what I've got on hand, see how it works, and then I'll adapt and make another one if it doesn't suit my needs, but I don't see why it shouldn't. This is really all we need. We need a hardy stem. For my anvil, that's 1¼ inch square, and this one's cut about 5½ long. And then we need the 2 arms for the clamp, and these are 3/8 by 1½ inch flat bar, and they're the same length, which is 20 inches per bar. And then we'll need a bolt to connect it. This is a 2½ inch long, 3/8 diameter bolt. I might like a little longer one. This nut's not going to go on real far, and I might want something a little bit better because I'm afraid this nut might rattle off. But this is the closest I had. The next best thing was 4 inches long. That's overkill. So I'll either make a bolt or scrounge around a little bit more, find a different bolt if I need it. But for today, to get this up and running and make sure it works, that will be just fine. There's actually going to be very little forge work involved with this piece, but I do want to put a little bit of a taper onto my hardy shank. And the main reason for that, one, it makes it a little easier to find the hardy hole, which isn't much of a big deal. But my hardy hole is punched because this is an old anvil, and sometimes that means they're not straight. And by putting a little bit of a taper, my tool is more likely to sit straight and square. And it just makes things a little bit easier sometimes. Not a real big deal. If you got a straight hardy hole, you can omit this step. Just something I chose to do. Besides that, there's so little forge work, I thought we ought to at least see some hot iron. This doesn't need a lot of taper. I just want to add a little bit to it. And since I'm not doing a lot, I'm going to get it done quick with some big hammers. I think that's going to be just fine. The other little bit of forge work that I'm going to do to this is right on the ends of the bars that actually do the clamping. I want it to actually be able to come in and kind of pinch the piece. I don't want a high spot or a corner to hang up back behind the bar. So I'm just going to kind of bend them in just like that. So I'm just going to taper this just a little bit on the end, more for looks than anything else. Give it just a little bit of a bend. I think that's really all it needs. Everything else will be done at the drill press. And of course you want them both to be pretty much the same. It looks pretty good. Let those cool. I'm afraid that's likely to be all of the actual forging in this project. Everything else I'm going to do at the drill press. You could certainly punch these holes, but I think for consistency and accuracy's sake, I'm going to go ahead and drill them. But if you don't have a drill press, you can punch them. You'll just need to make sure that things come out centered. Not really all that hard to do. Just my choice today is to use the drill press. So for the Hardy shank, I need a hole. These are 1.5 inches, so I'll come down 3/4 of an inch from the top. I'm going to go ahead and square around to the back side of this to help ensure that my hole is accurate. And if you mark from both sides of the square like this, you can be sure your line is actually in the center. And if it's not quite centered, you'll end up with a little gap, and you just center punch right between the gap. But my line came out centered, so I'm perfectly happy with that. For the arms, I think I want to be able to get this at least within 6 inches of the Hardy hole. But then I'm going to want to put a few extras. So I'm going to put some holes every inch on here, and I'm going to put, I think I'll put 5 holes. Really doesn't matter. You can, because this is held together with a bolt, we can take it apart, add more holes if we need to. So there's nothing really special about all of this. And again, I'll just use my little square to run what I hope is a center line, but I'll do it from both sides just in case it is not. You can see in this case I'm not quite centered, but I end up with 2 very close parallel lines, and that'll be perfect to make a center punch. So I'm going to center punch these, and I'm going to drill a 32nd of an inch over 3/8 of an inch just to make sure I've got plenty of clearance to bolt it together. This isn't something that needs to be tight and precise. Now I'm actually going to drill this halfway from both sides. That's why I squared around it. That way if there's any error, it's in the middle of the bar where the holes meet and not out here on the edges where it matters just a little bit more. And I can feel that those met up quite nicely, so I'm very happy with that. And that makes a nice, easy fit for my bolt. Now, I am perfectly comfortable hand holding these long bars under this drill press. This is not a very powerful drill press. One, I can stop it, but two, if it wants to spin and you hold it back here, it will hit the back post and it's not going to go anywhere. But don't do that unless you're really comfortable with your drill press. And I'm going to do a little countersink on all these just to make everything run smoother. It's pretty much all the metal work. We just need to assemble it, and then we're going to have to do just a little bit of woodworking to make sure this thing does what we think it's supposed to do. So we know we want the little grippers to go in so it can grab an axe blank here. And we'll put this not quite in the last hole, just to give us an adjustment both directions here. Now this has to be able to move. That's part of its requirements. You can't bolt this tight. I already sense I'm going to have to do a little adjustment because these bars are touching at the back end here. So I'm going to have to do a little offset here. Let's go do that. Look, there's more forge work to do. Yoo-hoo! So really all we need to do is just bend this back a little bit right there. I'm just going to put that little dog leg in it and try and make both of them look the same. Again, probably isn't that important for them both to look the same, but just seems kind of nice. When something falls off the anvil, just let it go to the floor. If you try to grab it, you're liable to grab the hot spot, and nobody wants to do that. I think that might work better. Let's let those cool and we'll put it together again. So we're just going to put these back together again. Now it should be obvious that this doesn't want to be bolted super tight, or it won't move. If you take this and put a wrench on it, that's pretty well locked in. So you have to have enough play in this to come together. Those don't come together quite perfectly. I may reforge those yet again. So let's find something and give it a try. So if you're splitting the end of an axe, you would put it in there just like that. Let the anvil support this. If you're punching the eye, you would put it in like that. So I have plenty of spread here and plenty of room. In fact, this works pretty well because it contacts in two places if you get it in there just right. And the thing that holds it all in place is this high-tech wedge. It looks like I'm going to need a little bit bigger wedge, but that does a pretty good job. And this isn't like a vise. This is just to keep this piece from falling off the anvil. and I think it works pretty well. Now the one thing I might do differently with this is go to a wedged hardy shank so that it can't move, and that would be a little bit more solid. I thought about that, but I didn't set off to do that because I wasn't sure if it was necessary, but it would help. But this is still better than chasing this piece off. It can't fall off the anvil. Also shows you how wore out my hardy hole is after 100 years of use on this anvil. So that's it for a fairly simple and quick little way to hold things on the anvil. It doesn't have to just be for axes. This can be for anything you're trying to work on at the anvil. And you could make them with different sized jaws. It'd be pretty easy to do, or just make multiple jaws to go on one hardy stem. I think I'm going to do a few things to this before I actually put it to work seriously, just to make it work a little bit better. I think wedging the hardy stem is probably going to be better, and before we make an axe with it, I'll do that, and then I'll discuss the changes that I make when we actually put it to work. Today's wedge is just an old piece of 2x4. It doesn't need to be anything special as far as I can tell, and the further back you put it, the more leverage you're going to get on your pieces. So if it's way back here, I didn't make it big enough for that though, so I got to put it up here a little bit. So just an idea from one of the viewers. I think I like it. I think we're going to try it. I'm going to include some links. They've either come by already or they'll come by here shortly to some of the videos that he shared showing how this works, and that might give you a better idea, since I've never actually used one of these before today. Matter of fact, the part of the video you saw at the beginning is about to happen next. So I'm going to go film that. We're back in the shop for the first day after taking a not quite 2-week vacation to the Oregon coast. Had a good time there. Hopefully you enjoyed the tour of Timberline Lodge. We stopped there on the way out. Stopped at Stuart Shirley's shop for his demo on the blacksmith's helper on the way out. I hope that video is good, as well as the 4-year-old Rocky Mountain Smith's axe making demo. I hope all of that was pleasurable. It was a good way to fill some time when I wasn't actually here to do any new videos, but we'll be back in the shop. I'm going to try and keep up with one a day at least through the month of May. Then we might slow down a little bit after that. But I'm going to do some testing with this, make some changes in it before we use it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you can get out to your shop, make something, challenge your creativity, use your imagination, but do try to stay safe and wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next one.